Coming up, remembering those from the Midlands who died at Hillsborough.
Also on the programme, a new look and a new future for the youth centre that used to be a hangout for gangs. And the rising star of Britain's Got Talent getting in a spin in Spain. That's at 6. A former anti-terror chief is appointed to investigate allegations of extremist infiltration in Birmingham schools. Hello and welcome to ITV News Central. On the programme tonight, a former anti-terror chief is to investigate allegations that Muslim extremists try to infiltrate Birmingham schools. 25 years on from the Hillsborough disaster, the families of Midlands victims remember.
You just don't expect anybody to die going and watching a game of football.
A big splash for tourist attractions in the Black Country as they get a £10 million boost.
And the Stourbridge granny who wowed the Britain's Got Talent judges gets dropped. Good evening. There's criticism tonight of the government's decision to appoint a former anti-terrorism chief to investigate allegations that Muslim extremists are trying to take control of some schools in Birmingham. Peter Clark will look into the claims, which involve 25 schools, both state-run and independent. Andy Bevan is in the newsroom now with more on this. Andy, why is there such a row about this latest appointment?
Well, Education Secretary Michael Gove announced this morning that he'd appointed Peter Clark as an Education Commissioner to review those claims that were in a letter called Operation Trojan Horse. That letter's already prompted Ofsted to carry out snap inspections of 15 schools, and they'll report back after Easter. Peter Clark will analyse that Ofsted information and examine hundreds of other complaints that have sprung up since the Trojan Horse letter came to light. He'll report back to Michael Gove in the summer. So who is Peter Clark? Well, he's a former senior Metropolitan Police officer with 31 years experience. He was on the board of the Serious Organised Crime Agency and also headed up the Force's Counter-Terrorism Command, gaining an OBE for his work on the 7/7 bombings. And it's those terrorism qualifications, if you like, that have given the nature of the allegations surrounding Trojan Horse have angered senior figures here in Birmingham. Ladywood MP Shabana Mahmood, for instance, born and educated in Birmingham, has called the appointment a provocative move which is hugely disappointing.
Michael Gove has gone and put in somebody who has a counter-terrorism background, and I think that sends a really negative message to everybody that is trying desperately to get to the bottom of these allegations, to work out what is true and what isn't.
And Peter Clark may be a former police officer himself, but his appointment has not gone down well with the Chief Constable of West Midlands Police.
His appointment will end with people seeing the whole issue of schools in East Birmingham as being a counter-terrorism issue. And I think that would be wrong. I think it would cause unjustified concerns within communities and within partner agencies. And for that reason, I think the appointment was unfortunate.
Well, all this comes just 24 hours after Birmingham City Council appointed its own inspector, Ian Kershaw, to look into the 200 or so complaints they've received regarding Trojan Horse and other issues at Birmingham schools. Today, the council leader, Sir Albert Bohr, called today's announcement a missed opportunity to strengthen our coordinated approach to addressing these very serious matters.
OK, Andy Bevan in the newsroom, thank you very much indeed. Now, it's 25 years today since the Hillsborough disaster in which 96 football fans died. This afternoon, families from the Midlands who lost their loved ones joined thousands at Anfield Liverpool Football Club's ground to pay tribute to the dead. Nancy Cole reports.
A minute's silence, remembering those who lost their lives at Hillsborough. It was 25 years ago that tragedy struck during the FA Cup semi-final match between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. A human crush resulted in the deaths of 96 people. Among the victims, 22-year-old David Birtle from Cannock in Staffordshire. His mum said he always had a football attached to his foot. Brothers 17-year-old Carl and 16-year-old Nicholas Hewitt from Leicester were also killed. Carl was training to be a cabinet maker and Nick wanted to become an electrical engineer. 26-year-old Andrew Brooks from Bromsgrove also lost his life. He worked at Land Rover's Longbridge plant and had travelled to the game with friends who all survived. His sister Louise has long campaigned for answers into his death.
Emotionally and mentally, it has such an impact on you. You know, it just affects every waking minute, you know, of your life.
As the oldest child and only son, she says losing him had a devastating effect on her parents.
It was never ever the same again. I mean, especially when your child has died not through an illness or, you know, an accident in terms of like a car accident. I think it must be so difficult to comprehend why, because he only went to watch a game of football. You just don't expect anybody to die going and watching a game of football.
In the last 14 years, Louise has lost both her parents, her mum to cancer, and just 10 days before the latest inquest into Hillsborough began, her dad passed away. She says, like them, her life has been dedicated to Andrew's memory.
I've been, you know, fighting and campaigning longer than I ever knew my brother. I was only 17. I exist, and I exist for one reason, for my brother, you know, to make sure that he didn't die in vain.
The inquest into Hillsborough is expected to last a year. Nancy Cole, ITV News, Bromsgrove in Worcestershire.
And there is more on the 25th anniversary commemorations of Hillsborough on our website, itv.com/central. Next, Port Vale captain Doug Loft is recovering with a suspected broken cheekbone after an altercation during training last Thursday. His injuries were shown in this picture on the back of today's Sun newspaper. The club has sacked defender Daniel Jones with immediate effect and has launched an internal investigation, while Loft is now unable to play for the rest of the season. For fans, it's yet another disappointing turn of events.
Write this in a soap, really. It's on all the time. So I think there is that kind of feeling, but also just really upset because Doug Loft's our captain. We really missed him on Saturday. He's a very good player, an integral part of the team, definitely in the running for Player of the Year. So it's just gutting.
A youth centre which used to be thriving then hit hard times after it attracted gangs has been turned around and is starting a new future.
Builders, police, local people and staff from a supermarket have given their time to do a bit of a 60-minute makeover on the centre. And as Mark Goff reports, it's key to making sure young people don't get sucked into crime and gangs.
A fresh lick of paint and a fresh start. It seems a simple thing, but giving young people somewhere to go, a social club, may lead them away from a life of crime and gangs.
You know what, it's a home from home for them, and that's what we're trying to emphasise and create more of, and just somewhere that they can meet with their friends, they can chill out, they can relax. They like to chill, that's what they like to do.
The Oakland Centre is in Handsworth in Birmingham, an area which has had its problems with gangs, but things are getting better. So, locals, police from the gangs task force, builders and the Prince's Trust have rolled their sleeves up. Jermaine Johnson is a local, a painter and decorator, but he knows how clubs like this can help young people.
Instead of chilling with their friends on a street corner, they're chilling with their friends in a safe environment. I think role models is a big thing. When you go to a youth centre, you got positive people around you. You actually have got sense on their heads and encouraging people to do the right thing. Also in my youth centre, so I had English classes and maths classes, so if you felt like you were struggling with your schoolwork, you also would go there to get a bit of help as well.
When young people on the streets, there's a chance they can get drawn into, you know, different negative things that are going on out there, particularly criminal activity. With the youth centre, they're able to not be at home, to meet with their friends, and it's a safe environment. You know, it's staffed here, we look after young people, we don't tolerate bullying or any kind of violent behaviour, whereas when they're on the streets, you know, we can't prevent anything they might get involved in, so then being here here is a lot safer than being out on the streets.
The Auckland Centre's been here for a long, long time, and it used to be a thriving community centre for young people. I would say that changed 4 or 5 years ago, where there was still a few gang tensions in the area. There were 1 or 2 issues around the Auckland Centre which changed things. That was a long time ago. Things have moved on since then. And today is all about getting the Auckland Centre back up and running again and being a thriving centre for Handsworth's youth.
And this is just the start. Cleveland Fletcher has got his own building firm, and he's promised to train young people who use the centre in the building trade. It means a lot. His grandfather, now passed on, helped start the centre.
We're going to take them on training schemes where we're going to become plumbers, decorators, painting builders, and what we're going to do, they're going to come and work for my company doing eco deals, and we're going to just give them a better future, basically.
A better future and a brighter future for these young people. Mark Goff, ITV News, Birmingham.
It's great to see the good work going on, isn't it? And some nice bright colours there.
Yes.
Cheered us up. You're watching ITV News Central. There's still lots more to come on the programme, including how our Britain's Got Talent star got in a spin in Spain.
And it's been a beautiful day across the West Midlands, and look what's in store for tomorrow. More detail about that in a few minutes' time.
Now, more than a third of eye clinics in the West Midlands aren't offering enough support for people diagnosed with sight loss.
Well, that's according to a report by the Royal National Institute of Blind People, which says thousands of people are going without the emotional and practical support they need when they start to go blind. David Wood reports.
For 3 years, Joanna has been rapidly losing her eyesight. It is linked to her diabetes, but now she only has limited vision out of one eye, and she knows it won't be long before she loses that too.
It's frustration and it's also anxiety. I feel quite anxious because if you imagine trying to walk in a dark street when the street lights are off, that's what I have all the time. In general day-to-day thing, it's a struggle.
But like many people, she had little help from doctors after being told she would eventually lose her eyesight.
In my case, I had no support. I was left with a diagnosis on a piece of paper, no leaflets, no books to actually deal with what was going on, and I was sort of just left to my own devices, really.
And Joanna's experience is common. To combat it, the RNIB want all eye clinics to have a sight loss specialist by 2019.
Sight is the sense people most fear losing. So I think what they need at that point is someone to really tell them that there are things they can do and skills they can relearn, and that there is life after sight loss.
In response to the call, NHS England says losing your sight is life-changing and patients need as much support as possible. Goes on to say, we know that too often eye healthcare is fragmented with variations in outcomes for patients, and we're determined to address this. It will report next month on how it could improve care. Joanna has spent 3 years getting her life back on track, but insists it is possible, but it would have happened quicker if she'd had more support. David Wood, ITV News.
In other news, Derby's assembly rooms could be demolished and rebuilt from scratch as councillors look at options for its future. It's been announced the venue will remain closed for at least 18 months after a major fire broke out in March, destroying the facilities which provide all the theatre's heating, water and power. Demolition is one option, along with returning the 40-year-old building to its former state of refurbishment. There are concerns, however, about the effect of the closure on the city's economy.
Derby is a culturally very diverse city, and one that has a large number of events within it, many of which take place within the assembly rooms. That brings people into the city. It obviously rewards people in the city. It enhances the quality of life, which makes it a much more attractive place to live, and that's so very important for the economic prosperity of the city.
Now, the national and international news is a few moments away. Let's take a look at what's coming up with Alistair Stewart.
As Ukraine begins to take on separatist protests, Russia's Prime Minister Medvedev says the country's on the threshold of a civil war. Pro-Russian demonstrators mock and make light of Ukraine's military might, but Kiev orders reinforcements in. Fury here as a former anti-terror chief is appointed to investigate an alleged Islamic takeover of some Birmingham schools. And remembering the 96 who died at Hillsborough, Anfield opens its heart to the victims' families. Join Mary Nightingale and me at 6:30.
Now, more than £10 million is being ploughed into transforming one part of the Black Country into a centre of tourism for the whole region.
Yes, the Castle Hill project aims to build closer links between Dudley Zoo, the Black Country Living Museum, the Canal Trust and the town centre, creating jobs, attracting more visitors and boosting the economy. Charlotte Cross reports.
Manufacturing. Traditionally the backbone of the Black Country, and in the past was where many in the region found their work. But times have changed.
The manufacturing sector will never ever be able to generate the numbers of jobs that it used to generate because of the impact of automation, ICT. So therefore the jobs have got to come from somewhere.
That somewhere, it's hoped, will be tourism. More than £10 million is being ploughed into revamping visitor attractions in Dudley Town Centre. This includes £7 million creating a new car park and road linking Dudley Zoo, the Black Country Living Museum and Dudley Canal Trust. £3.5 million modernising the zoo, on top of the £6 million new Dudley Archives. It's hoped that the investment will help turn Dudley into a major tourism hub for the region, increasing visitor numbers by a third, up to 1 million a year, and giving the economy a much-needed boost.
The benefit's fantastic because we're quite confident we can increase the number of visitors. With the redevelopment of the town centre, so the town centre's coming closer to the zoo, it'll mean that there will be more likelihood that those 1 million visitors will go into the town centre and spend the money and help the revitalisation of the town centre.
Dudley Zoo is at the centre of the work, finally starting to see the results of several years of planning. The old entrance and gift shop, based in one of the iconic Tecton buildings, has been transformed to allow people direct access from the car park. Workers are moving quickly to make sure that can be opened in time for the coming Easter bank holiday weekend. Several animal enclosures have also been updated, and the signature wavy entrance will be brought back into use. For Zoo Chief Executive Peter Suddock, it's a relief to see the plans finally coming to fruition.
It just took such a long time to get it to this stage. And that's been some of that's been a bit of a battle, but it's a really exciting time. Having seen this going on for about 5 years, this is fabulous. The whole idea is to make a destination to grow the economics of this part of the region, and we're confident that will be the case.
Much of the cash has come from Europe and needs to be spent by December, but it won't stop there. A new entrance plaza is on the cards, along with new activities in the castle. And with talks over the future of the old Hippodrome building too, the skyline of Dudley Town Centre is set to keep on changing for some time to come. Charlotte Cross, ITV News, Dudley.
Well, some good news for Dudley, I have to say. It's brought back some memories of visiting the zoo.
Do you know what? I have to confess, and I shouldn't, but I've never been to Dudley Zoo.
No, I know.
I went to Twycross last week. I do like a zoo, but...
I remember pushing a pram all the way up that hill.
Was it yours?
Yes,
okay,
it was
fine,
mine actually. Yeah,
good,
it did my legs no end of good, I tell you. But it was good fun. It was. So we'll take you.
Okay, fine. That's a date.
In the summer. All right. Now let's talk about football because we've got some news about Aston Villa. They made a shock announcement today regarding their coaching staff. 2 of manager Paul Lambert's team have been suspended, while 2 others have been promoted to assist him in preparing the team for this weekend's visit of Southampton. Well, our sports correspondent Steve Clapp is here now to tell us more. And Steve, what more can you tell us?
Well, yes, we got all this from a statement from Aston Villa sort of mid-afternoon. So the key bit there, I think, which was dropped down at the very bottom of the statement, a very positive statement, right at the very bottom, Ian Culverhouse and Gary Cass have been suspended pending an internal investigation. That is literally all we know about that at the moment. But of course, they were both coaches that Lambert himself brought with him to the club. They were with him at Norwich and at other clubs before that. So they were a very close-knit unit. But they've been suspended pending this internal investigation. So who takes the role? Well, Shay Given, one of the goalkeepers who actually hasn't played much under Paul Lambert. He's now joining the coaching staff, as is Villa legend Gordon Cowan's already at the club. He's promoted, and obviously it says it's all just temporary promotions, but they will now be assisting Paul Lambert. They've got Southampton next. They've lost 4 games in a row, so there's a lot of pressure on that club and a lot to do, and I bet they could have done without this right now, but we'll keep you posted on that. But I have got some other sports news for you. Okay. And nobody's been sacked with this one or suspended or anything. It's lovely. You probably wouldn't expect the UK's strongest man to be only 26 years old, but he is. And he's from Stoke-on-Trent. Eddie Hall has been competing as a strongman for 6 years. He has to eat around 8,000 calories a day. Sounds good, doesn't it? Which costs him around £200 a week in shopping. As part of his strict training regime, James Clark has been to meet him.
Meet Eddie Hall. He's got 33-inch thighs, a 46-inch waist and a 60-inch chest. He can bench press 300 kilograms, squat 400 kilograms and deadlift 440 kilograms. And that would explain why he's the UK's strongest man.
It's pretty tough. I work sort of 7 till 5 every day, Monday to Friday, and I do weekends as well. And then, I finish work at 5 o'clock and I head to the gym and I do a 3-4 hour session in the gym. I've got to be honest, it's hard. I don't see my family very much, but I just like to say, champions are made, they're not born.
And they're certainly not. This was Eddie on his first birthday, and by 16 he was showing real signs of becoming that champion. But it's not just the gym that makes him the strongest man in Britain. The majority of Eddie's power and strength comes from his extreme diet. He starts the day off with an apple yoghurt and protein shake. By lunchtime he's already consumed just over 4,000 calories, and it doesn't stop there. An afternoon snack consists of sandwiches, crisps and chocolate, and for dinner it's a large steak with pasta and vegetables. By the time Eddie goes to bed, he's consumed almost 8,000 calories.
To be a strong man, the most important thing you've got to do is eat. I'd say training second, and then it's sleep third.
Now Eddie's strength really is incredible. This is a 20 kilogram weight. On the end of the bar is another 20 kilogram weight, and the bar weighs 20 kilograms. So altogether 60 kilograms. Your average 26-year-old male will probably be able to bench press this, but Eddie can do 5 times that, which is about the weight of a Harley Davidson motorcycle. Eddie's next big competition is in his hometown of Stoke, where he'll compete against some of the strongest men in the world for the title of the world's ultimate strongest team.
Come the end of May, definitely beastie with his static power. I mean, it's a world competition. It's the biggest thing to come to Stoke for forever, really. So, in terms of static power, Eddie will beat the best in the world, definitely, yeah.
Eddie will now be getting as many training sessions in as possible in the hope of beating the rest of the world and leaving them for dust come the end of May. James Clark, ITV News, Stoke-on-Trent.
And to put that into even more context, we saw at 60 kilograms on the bar, and everyone knows I love the gym and I do a lot of weightlifting. I've been working on my bench press for about 15 years. I can do 120 kilograms and he's doing 300.
I'm staggered by how many calories he eats.
I know. How do you fit it in? Although I think you, Matt.
You said you could.
I can do the calories, I can't do the lifting. I'm halfway there, basically. Brilliant. Steve, thank you.
Well, we wish him well. Thank you, Steve. Now, if you watched Central Tonight last night, you'll remember that we featured the Stourbridge granny who wowed the Britain's Got Talent judges with her amazing salsa dance on Saturday night.
Yes, 79-year-old Paddy Jones has already won the Spanish version of the show, but we now hear she's been dropped. Never fear, though. We don't mean she's been axed from the show, just that she's been dropped on the floor.
Yes, now these pictures show Paddy being spun just a little bit too enthusiastically by her partner Nico Espinosa, and it's good to see that it didn't really stop Paddy in her stride, and she was straight back up on her feet again.
Very quickly, yes,
moves, hasn't she?
Absolutely. Just need to remind you very quickly, if you know a good cause you think would benefit from ITV Central's and the big lottery funds, the People's Millions, you still have time to enter. Full details can be found on our website, itv.com/People's Millions. There we go.
Now though, let's get the weather forecast with the details. Here is Lucy.
A short break. Whatever the weather, ITV Local Weather, sponsored by Centre Parks.
Hello, I hope you've had a lovely Tuesday in the sunshine. We've got a cheery picture for you tonight as well, taken by William Round. Thank you very much for that. There's more blue sky to come tomorrow before the cloud rolls in for Thursday. I'll tell you more about that in a second. But first, let's look at the pressure chart. This tells the story quite nicely. High pressure in control of our weather. This is good news, keeping things nice and settled, light winds as well. It's also going to give us quite a chilly night tonight, but temperatures will quickly recover tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow could be slightly warmer than today. So tonight then, as the sun sets, temperatures plummet. It's going to be a chilly one with temperatures close to freezing in some locations. A touch of frost quite possible overnight, and that leads us into a fairly chilly start to the day tomorrow, but plenty of sparkly sunshine through the morning and the afternoon as well. Temperatures reaching 15 or 16 degrees Celsius with those light winds, feeling gorgeous tomorrow. And then the clouds will roll in through the night, setting us up for a bit of a grey day on Thursday. We might even see the odd spot of rain as well. Have a nice evening.
ITV Local Weather, sponsored by Centre Parks.
Now, just before we go, let's give you a reminder of the top stories in the Midlands tonight. There's criticism of the government's decision to appoint a former anti-terrorism chief to investigate allegations that Muslim extremists are trying to take control of some schools in Birmingham. Peter Clark will look into the claims, which involve 25 schools, both state-run and independent.
Families from the Midlands who lost their loved ones at Hillsborough 25 years ago have joined thousands at Anfield, Liverpool Football Club's ground, to pay tribute to the dead.
And more than £10 million is being ploughed into tourism in Dudley. The Castle Hill project aims to build closer links between Dudley Zoo, the Black Country Living Museum, the Canal Trust and the town centre.
And that is all we have time for tonight. Just a reminder, of course, the best way to keep thoroughly up to date is via the website itv.com/central. The national and international news follows us. But from the team here, good night.
Bye-bye.